Welcome to the Rad Motivation Podcast, where I'm your host, Ravi. This podcast is where we delve into people's emotional stories and how they overcame those hurdles that life threw at them. For this episode, I have the pleasure of introducing Anisha, and it's here where we unravel the grief and recovery she went through and how she uses her loss to make an impactful difference to those who lean on her for support. Anisha, I came across your social media page quite some time ago, and to be honest, I see how truly heartfelt your content is. And I think it's a testament to who you are as an individual. Anisha, the story you've decided to share is about how you lost someone so near and dear to you. And so, in your own words, by all means, explain the story.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for that. So my name's Anisha, everyone. I was 22 and I lost my mom to stage 4 breast cancer. It was a really long journey, emotional roller coaster for sure. Initially, she was diagnosed with just stage 1 breast cancer 5 years ago when she was 50. And she went through it. She was a strong individual, and we supported her through it. And then after 5 years of about to being discharged, she ended up getting it again during COVID time. Um, so during that point, it was like, again, a massive shock to us. We didn't know how to kind of battle that. And for someone so young, like myself, it was so hard to actually be in the hospital non-stop whilst working and going to university. So I was carrying a lot of load. Not only that, I was a caregiver to her. Like I was the main primary source to look after her needs, see her vulnerable sides, and that impacted me a lot because I had to stay strong at such a young age. Um, and during the time I was in the NHS, I was staying overnight on like the floor just so I could support my mom. And unfortunately, the staff within the NHS wasn't very helpful. There was a lot of negligence. And it was quite a tough journey where I had to navigate that through and really have a voice. And back then, I didn't really have a voice. I was very sensitive, very emotional. And all I wanted to do was support my mom. But over time, I was there for her constantly and tried to be the best daughter and also a caregiver for her. And then eventually, they did tell us that she has only like a couple of days to live. I was very in denial at this stage because I knew that my mum was a very strong and independent person. So I was still very in denial about that. And I was like doing everything that I could to support her, knowing that she could get through this. However, when she heard those last final words, she lost hope. And unfortunately, she did pass away. And that moment there really changed the way I saw life, how I saw myself, because not only was it her that I lost, it was a version of myself that I lost too. So, yeah, that is my story. And then after my mom passed, it was very much on the go, survival mode, trying to get through things, funeral planning, all of that. And then you start to see that life just moves past, everyone goes back to work, you carry on with your daily task. And during that time, I was carrying a lot where people didn't really see that from the outside, but inside I was feeling it over time. And I thought I could get through it because as I was doing I studied for my psychology degree, became a therapist. And as a therapist, obviously I knew all the scientific stuff about grief and did like the self-care stuff for myself. But again, like it was so hard for me to practice that. And then over time, I felt it in my body. I started feeling physical symptoms that had come to a point where I was like, maybe I do need to seek out some support. And luckily, I found some really good support from a counselor that I worked for almost a year through my grief journey. And it helped so much that yeah, now I'm here today supporting other people because grief can be such a lonely experience. And it's important that people know that they're not alone in them symptoms and feelings.
I got to commend you first of all because it's tough what you went through, but also because your mum just wasn't your mum. I've seen from your content, she was more like a sister and your best friend. So there's so much more that's gone on to lose all that support network, but also how much of a friendship you had. Obviously, I don't know, but how much, but from your content alone, it just gives an indication of how close your bond with her was. And all I can say is I'm sorry for the loss. Yeah, it's a difficult thing when you lose a parent so early on. I understand I've lost my dad quite early on as well, so I fully can empathize. But yeah, enough about me. I'm just going to go into the questions that I sent you. So the first one was that in your email that you sent me, you mentioned that losing your mum sort of redefined who you once were. And I think you more or less addressed that. So who you once were versus uh, who you are now, and what do you think changed most? I think it was, yeah, I think it was your perception of life. But is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, so obviously it was the perception of my life. Like I was before when my mom was there, I was so focused on the next thing in life. It was going to university, getting my degree, getting married, having kids, my future plans. That was my perspective on life. Whereas I thought that was the things that mattered to me until when I did lose my mom. After that, it stripped a lot of weight, the lot of those feelings. And I feel like I became more intentional with my time. I was more focused on being present, being still, being around family and people that I love and care for because life is too short. You don't really know what's around the corner. And it's about being kind and caring. And that's all I really care about now rather than getting married and all of those big milestones at the minute. Like it's more just being present and enjoying the moment.
And more or less just cherishing life as it is right now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Uh, yeah, no, you don't realize the importance of a moment until it's gone.
Exactly. It's such a shock. You just don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and when it does happen, it just knocks you down. But then again, as I said, you've been able to pick you up so many times. So again, I'm going to be giving you compliments here and there. So
Thank you.
yes, forgive me if I'm going to be, forgive me if all the compliments, if it's a little bit
No, it's
too
cool.
much,
I love
but
the
it's just a,
compliments.
fair enough. Looking back, what was the hardest part of grief that people around you perhaps didn't see or understand?
I would probably say the loneliness. Grief can make you feel really lonely. And not many people can really understand that until you actually go through it. And it's true, like, not because I didn't have people around me, but like nobody else lost my mom and really knew the relationship that I had with my mom. And like I said originally, it was like my mom was my first go to support network. Like I'd tell her everything, she would give me advice. And when that obviously was gone, it felt like I didn't have no one else around me or that support like a mum figure because like mums, they give that unconditional love no matter what. They don't judge you. They're just there. And like obviously people saw the tears during that moment, but again, it wasn't they didn't see that constant mental load that I was carrying because on the outside I looked completely fine. Like you wouldn't even be able to tell. Like it looked like oh, she's doing well, she's getting over it, she's strong. But internally it was like I felt it every day, especially on the days where I was on my own when I go back home and really kind of feel my feelings because when you go to work and stuff, you're kind of distracted. You don't really think about those things. But when you're on your own, it's like, wow, I have no one to really talk to about my feelings because they won't understand. So I'd probably say the hardest part was the loneliness.
I'm not going to lie. When I read those words, it was very heartbreaking to read, and it was a bit of a struggle to read the rest of your lines because I yeah could just sense the impact of those words by itself, let alone what else you went through. Um, But yeah, again, it's not something you fully understand until you go through it yourself, is it? Was there a particular moment where you realized where life was never going to be the same as it used to be?
Yes, 100%. Like, it was probably the day that she died. But if I'm being honest, it was like months afterwards that I found that life around me just kept on carrying on, and I had to really accept what was happening. And I think in the first stages, you're kind of just so numb to it, where you're just like doing everything, you're distracted that, like, when you're in those moments where you're just doing something on a daily and you're like, wow, like, it's actually happened. Like, I can't believe life has just carried on like that. And that's when I realized that things are completely different now to the way they were before.
And you take those lessons and then you help them when you do your one-to-one grief counseling and all that sort of thing, so you can empathize regardless of the situation that person's going through, the underlying feelings, all that sort of thing is pretty much the same, isn't it? So it's yeah, I guess they can confide in you, and I see the reviews that they give. They're overwhelmingly positive. They absolutely love the support you've given them. So again, kudos to you for doing what you do. Honestly, how did losing your mum affect your relationships with other people and the way you connect with them today?
Yeah, when it came to relationships, I felt quite alone in terms of how it affected me because the people around me, especially my friends, they still had their parents. So it was very hard to obviously have conversations with them because they didn't really understand what it would be like to lose a parent. And having them conversations can feel uncomfortable, especially for the griever, because it's like, not only are you thinking about your emotions, but you're thinking about the other person's emotions because you don't want them to think like, what are they meant to say? Or you don't want that empathy almost because like the first thing everyone says is like, oh, I'm sorry for your loss. But it's like, you don't need to say that. It can make things feel quite uncomfortable in the situation. So for me, it definitely affected my relationships in a way. And although it did, it made me kind of understand that I really value depth rather than surface level connections now. And like I have very little interest in like small talk or like just not actual conversations. And I found that over time that really kind of shifted my relationships with my friends and also with my family because it was very much like they didn't know how to kind of sit with me and my emotions. But luckily, there was one friend that was really there where, yeah, she did feel really uncomfortable and she was trying her best to kind of support me. But I then had to communicate to her that, look, I really appreciate that you're trying to help. This is how I would like to be supported. And it's okay to not say anything or fix me or say anything, like just sit with me with my emotions. That would help so much more. And when I had that conversation, it opened a lot in terms of our connection and our bond. And it really helped us to grow as like people when I did say that. And I think it can be so hard to obviously communicate to our friends and families with what we actually want during the time we have when we're going through grief. So yeah, it can definitely affect your relationships romantically, friends, family.
It must have really, I think situations like this, it sort of shows you who are your friends, who and who aren't, who will be there for you and who won't be. If you don't mind me asking, is there anything specific that this friend of yours did that helped beyond the sort of understanding, sitting with, not having to speak, but just be present in that moment? Is there anything else? If you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, so she obviously used to call me, like check up on me probably like every week or so, just to see how I'm going. We would have like an hour FaceTime call together and she'd be like, okay, cool, like talk to me about your mom. I'd speak about my mom to her. And then we just have like a good time for an hour, just like talking about the good memories that I had with my mom. And also she organized like a cancer walk for us to go on just to kind of honor her in a way. And like that really meant a lot to me because it showed like the effort that she was making in order for me to like try and carry the love rather than make it such a negative experience. And like, I knew from then that was a friend, and I would rather like one friend than 10 others who wasn't going to support me.
Yes, I saw that walk you did. I admire it. It's not easy doing a walk, but to do a walk with somebody for someone so special, it makes it more worthwhile, I guess. And
Mhm.
I'm assuming that's what you felt when you completed the run, however long it was.
Yeah, so every year what I do is like, so the first year was 5K that I ended up doing for cancer research. And yeah, 5K sounds so long, but it's really not, to be fair. And then the second year was 10K. And then hopefully next year will be like 20K, but we'll see.
20K.
Yeah,
Oh wow, God, you're a fitness fanatic, aren't you?
I
Fair
try.
enough. You try. No, you kudos to you. Honestly, that's yeah. It's difficult. I'm trying to find different vocabulary, but I'm really struggling, especially at this early in the morning.
Yeah, no.
Uh, you often say, you often speak about healing. What does healing mean to you now in comparison to what you thought it was before your mum's passing?
So before I didn't really know and understand the word healing. It was just kind of meant to me just getting over things, and that was it. But when obviously my mom left and I had that period on my own where I had to like sit with those feelings and carry a lot, I saw that healing was very different. It was understanding that healing isn't about forgetting. It's definitely not about moving on. It's learning how to carry on with the grief without it carrying you. And it's like being able to again sit with those feelings rather than distracting yourself and brushing it off. And over time, you'll start to see that the more you sit with those feelings and emotions, it won't feel as bad compared to the first time that you did it. So
It's a very
it's
sorry.
no, it's fine. It's obviously creating that space and that joy and that purpose and that love while still honoring a life that you would like. And that's what I found in like doing my work is to show people that there is hope, there is a way for you to still carry and honor your loved one at the same time, enjoying your life the way that you want to.
It's a very uncomfortable thing to do, sitting in the grief, because it forces you to face that reality. And I'm sure it. Again, do you mind me asking how long it took for you to sort of sit with that feeling, or you don't need to answer that? It's just more curiosity.
Yeah, I think it was like when I first initially did it, sitting with those feelings, it was like, yep, I can't deal with this. Like I was going to do a journal entry at that point where I was going to like try and implement that to see if it works. I was like, nope, I didn't have the patience. I kind of just distracted myself and moved on because it was so hard to like actually sit down and write everything that I was feeling. But I had to just accept it for the way it was and actually do it and see how I felt. And then the more I kept on being consistent with it, it just let a whole weight off my shoulders just went after writing everything down and doing them journal entries. And it took, whilst I was getting support with one of my counselors, it was almost a year and a half we worked together on like yeah, a very long time for me. But I really wanted to work on myself, work on my confidence after my mom and everything like that. So yeah, I would probably say it took me a year and a half. to really kind of sit with those feelings and know that now how to navigate it.
It's a lifesaver, isn't it? Counseling. It helps break things bit by bit into small manageable pieces to, I guess, fully process what is or what has happened. And it does. I think it's still, in my opinion, still underrated
Yeah.
uh, because, but hopefully, I think it's slowly improving because I think more and more people are aware that mental health is something it should not be dismissed.
Hmm.
It should be taken as serious as sort of physical health should
Yeah,
be, um, because it's all of them are tied together, aren't they?
it really is.
Uh,
And as
yeah,
well, so with the grief counseling, I realized, yeah, talking about it is so helpful and it did benefit me so much. But then over time, I realized that it's not just the mind that grief affects, it's also your body too. And I definitely felt it like a lot of physical symptoms during that period. So it's important to also like look after your body at the same time, as well as seeking out the talking therapies.
yeah. I see your content. You post more about as post quite a lot about nutrition as well, which is actually equally as important. Uh, did you find it easier to talk to a stranger? I guess I know they're a qualified professional, but still, it's not somebody family related, friends related. Where I think there's a bit of a, I guess, a little bit of a stigma. I would say, whereas
Mhm.
this is completely new.
Yeah, 100%. Like, obviously, at first, it's like speaking to a stranger can make you feel a bit uncomfortable, but it's important for your therapist to make you feel comfortable and know that it is a safe space for you to speak. And I think I got really lucky with the person that I had because she really made me feel comfortable on the first session that I was able to open up to her. And it's so important to open up in therapy because there's no point if there's any restrictions or you can't be your authentic self because you're not going to learn, you're not going to be able to progress. So it's important for them to see your vulnerable side when you feel safe enough to open up.
Gosh, yeah, yeah, absolutely, I agree. I went through therapy myself during my dad's demise, so I fully 100%
Yeah.
agree with you. Again, it was uncomfortable, and I was again lucky, similar to you. I was very lucky because the person, she was female, so I feel as if females are more attuned to their emotions than
Yeah.
guys, if I'm being honest. But no, she was a very qualified person, and she's become more of a friend to me, if I'm honest. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's very nice to have that sort of bond build over. Again, for me, it was over a year, so it's worth it. Is all I can say on that
Yeah,
matter.
definitely. It's such an investment. Like, not obviously when you go into therapy, it can be expensive when they say like the pricing and stuff, but like see it as more of an investment on your health and yourself because that's where the wealth is really.
Health is wealth, as cliche as it sounds, isn't it?
It really is.
But then again, yeah,
But
I
I'm
just
really
feel it.
glad
It's
that you
very,
sorry, I'm really glad that you obviously get the support as well because it's nice to hear that because not many people are aware of it.
yeah. I mean, one of my colleagues sort of had to force me into it because I come from an Asian sort of culture. I think it's still
Yeah,
considered a bit of a taboo topic.
100%.
I don't know if you've how often you see it as well, but
Completely
evidently
agree.
we're in the same boat, and which is a shame. It is a shame, but then again, talking really helps. That's why I was curious about your experience as well and the length. But it's not something that just gets fixed overnight, is it?
It really doesn't. And especially in Asian culture as well, it's like we've been brought up to not show emotion and to just get on with it.
Hmm.
Especially with the older generation. But I think now the new generation are kind of opening up to it, saying like, nah, it's okay to actually open up and show your emotions because that's where the strength is rather than just keeping it all in.
Well, you put it a bit more eloquently than I would. I would just say, "Shut up, shop," is what I've been grown up to believe.
Yeah, exactly. I think I remember in the funeral, one of my family members, when I was crying, they were like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Why am I crying?" They're
Serious?
like, yeah, so it's like very much like very straight to the point. We don't cry, just get on with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Seriously? God, that must have been, uh, I mean, I don't know what to say.
No, it's fine. You don't
I
have
mean,
to, you don't have to say anything.
that to you,
Yeah, I can.
family
Yeah,
members. What parts of your mum do you see yourself in today, out of interest?
I would definitely say her strength. She was a very powerful, independent woman, and I definitely looked up to her a lot. Um, and her ability to care deeply for people. She was such a caring person. She worked with kids, she was loved doing like wholesome things. So like seeing that has made me be the person I am today, where I'm caring for other people and supporting them through their grief journey. And definitely her resilience, because, like I said, she first initially had cancer and she overcome that easily. And the next time when she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, she battled through no matter what. And yeah, I would probably say she had definitely a lot of stuff that she went through in her lifetime, but she was able to get through that and still look amazing at the end of it. And yeah, I definitely admire her strength and her resilience for sure. And the older I get, I catch myself doing a lot of like things that my mom would probably do or how she would approach situations. And it's just nice to see that that's been embedded, and would love to like carry her legacy over.
I see a little bit of smile on your face whenever you say that. So say those little things like, "This is what mum would say. This is what mum would do." It gives you that sort of reminder that even though they're gone physically, they're still present in some form or some way here and there. Before I forget, I love the memory jar thing that you do as part of your content. I thought it was quite wholesome that you
Yeah.
put memories in of all the good times that you had, all the things you remember. So I guess you would encourage people to do something similar, would you not?
Yeah, 100%. Like that was such a game changer for me. Like especially in the first stages, because it was like that's the only memories you really have and remember, because they're so fresh and raw. That the hardest part with grief, it's like you're scared that you're gonna forget them completely as the person that they were before as well. So like writing those memories down and putting it in a jar is almost like you're remembering them good memories rather than the bad, and it can really give you that sort of peace knowing that like it wasn't just bad, there was a lot of good out of it. And yeah, for those who are going through grief at the moment, like when they feel ready, writing memories down can really help, and putting them together. And when it comes to let's say an anniversary, you can look into that jar and look at all the memories that you've written, and it's just like wow, there's so many.
That's a very cute way to view it. Well, very admirable and difficult and probably to open it on such significant days. But at the same time, once you've done it, I guess it brings a sense of relief and reminder, as I said, of cherished memories that you've had with them, or cherished parts of them that they still bring to you. You still
Yeah.
show. Uh, if your if your mum could see the person you are today, what do you think she would be most proud of, Anisha?
I would probably say that I kept going. Not because I achieved everything as of yet, but because there was moments where I was really in my darkest moments, and I was able to get myself out of there and generally like feel happy again within myself. And I think she would be proud, like I've turned my pain into purpose, and I'm sharing her journey to help other people through their grief journey. And I think that would be such a big thing that she would be proud of.
Do you mind me asking what she did for a profession?
So she was a teacher. in a
Oh, was she?
nursery. Hmm.
Oh, that's sweet. Uh, and looking back at your journey, what do you think the three biggest reflections you have on the whole experience were?
Looking back at it now, I'd probably say like know that like life is not happening to you, it's happening. No, life is not happening for you, it's happening to you. Like just know to trust the process. Like peace comes through trusting yourself, not controlling everything all at once. Because when you go through grief, it's like you don't have control over everything. You don't know what's going to happen next. And that can make you feel really unsettled. But knowing that things will come naturally and trusting in that process and the lessons that you learn rather than controlling everything. So that was another lesson that I learned. And that grief is basically love with nowhere to go. It never dies. And that was, I learned that the hard way in my therapy sessions. And once I learned that perspective, I was like, everything changed because it's like, it's so true. Like, if you see grief as love, it just shows how much, how deeply you cared and love for that person. That's why you're feeling that ache, that pain, and that sadness. But just know that that love never dies. It goes within you, it goes within others. It's just how you carry it now.
Oh, God. I really didn't want to stop you there
No, that's fine. And that
because
literally, it might have sounded really poetic, but like, it's so true. It's like,
no, it is true. It is true. Absolutely. I seriously didn't want to say just three because I'm sure there was a whole load more that you could have said.
mhm. And the thing is, it's like, oh, obviously, you lose them physically, you don't see them anymore physically, but grief is like it changes shape over time. Like they will always be part of you no matter what, even though they're not here physically. And it's like understanding that too, like seeing little signs when you go out, you look at the sky and you'll see like there's lines or like there's a bird and you'll remember them, you'll think of them and know that they're guiding you as well.
Yeah, I know. For me, I've got my like dad's handwriting on a letter, so that reminds me a little bit of him. I
I know.
see. I get often told you look like a dad, which obviously brings a smile to me. I see videos that we share together, and it obviously bring it. It's a bit of a mixed emotion, but more or less it
Yeah,
brings happiness to my eyes. And I'm sure you experience something similar.
of course, definitely. It's that sort of like peace as well, knowing that like, okay, is like they've not gone forever. They're still part of me.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Uh, what are the three things you would want somebody going for a similar experience to know?
That you don't have to be strong all the time. And it's okay to show emotion. It's okay to obviously get the support that you need because people will be there to support you no matter how hard it can be. And especially if you've been that strong person all the time, I know how difficult it can be to ask for support, but know that you don't have to be strong. Like people are there to support you. That's the reason why they're in your life is to find ways or to teach you lessons and use it to your advantage because it will definitely help. And there's no right or wrong way to grieve. Obviously, everyone is in their own journey, no matter how long it's been. Like, there's no particular timeline. And sometimes on social media, it can be very much like, yeah, I'm over it after a year. That's it. Like, it's done. But it's not like that. It's very much like, it will always stay with you. You're always going to grieve. And that's the hardest part about it is that accepting the truth that you're going to always grieve, but it's just going to be very different over time. Where maybe let's say 6 months where you've lost your person, it's like you're going to be in this high emotional state and it's going to be hard every day. But then maybe in a year's time, that feeling might gradually feel less. Yes, you'll cry, but it won't be as often. So again, just understanding that there's no right way to grieve and that those feelings that you're going through are completely normal and you're not going crazy. And also one day, like you won't just be surviving and getting through the days, you'll actually be living your life the way that you want to.
I can sense the passion in your voice whenever you say these words, because obviously you've been through it. You're obviously guiding people who are going through this experience step by step. So again, kudos to you for taking on this role as a counselor, actually. So it's difficult to try and take on other people's problems, because you may carry your work home with you, because unfortunately that's the sort of caring person you are. But at the same time, it brings you joy and relief that you are making a difference in their lives, whether it's something small or something big. And I think that's something I think you should be very proud of, Anisha.
Thank you. Yeah, it is such a rewarding experience, like especially like with my client work and when coaching them, it's like the beginning stages where they feel completely lost and stuck. And then over time, whilst we're working together, you start to see their smile again. You start to see like the little moments where they're like, oh, thank you so much. And those moments mean so much to me because it's like, wow, like it's so possible that people can get through it.
Hmm. Uh, Last but not least, what are the three biggest things you've learned about yourself going through something life changing as this?
That I'm way stronger than I believed to because at first I didn't even think I would get through any of this. But like the fact that I've lost my mom and I've got through so much just goes to show how much strength I have in order to get through that. And that my purpose has been finally found by helping others and making an impact in this world because what's the point? Like, why am I here in this world if I'm not making an impact? So it's understanding like my purpose is helping others around me and making this place such a positive place rather it being always negative because I don't know if for me, like the UK is very much like get on with it, pay bills, like always on survival mode, like fight or flight constantly. And it's like people shouldn't be living like this. People should be living the life, their dreams, their ambitions, rather than just paying bills and going on about their day sort of thing. And that another thing that I've learned after losing my mom is that my heart still has the capacity to still love and to still trust and find joy and put that with the people that I care about and love. And I still have that within me and that I've not just shut off and been completely cold.
I so relate to that last little bit about finding a purpose. Have you found any extra purpose? Because I feel as if, alongside the grief counseling and joining people on this podcast, I have a feeling this is just the start of what you can and will achieve personally.
100%.
Is
Like, yeah, obviously right now is like helping people through their grief journey. It's like I said before, it's not just talking, it's about working on yourself physically as well. It's like a whole holistic approach that I give to people when they're going through the grief and to find their purpose again, because we can almost feel quite stuck when we've lost that person. We don't know how life can look. But right now that's my purpose, obviously helping them navigate that, but there's so much more. I've had so many ideas. There's an ebook that I've recently been starting for people that have had to navigate the NHS with someone that is suffering from cancer and how you can support them through it and be that caregiver but also support yourself as well. So that's in the process right now that I'm currently going through. I've also got a grief ebook. So like for those who don't want to like seek out therapy at the moment and it's too much for them, having a little self-help book can really help too, just to kind of understand what grief is and like some tools when you are going through those waves. So yeah, it's not only just the client work, it's also the side projects and stuff that I'm working on and also joining your podcast as well. It's just been like amazing.
Yeah, and yeah, I feel, do you know, you have a very soothing voice. So I feel as if people listening to your voice over audio. I told you I was going to continue complimenting, but no, it's very soothing. So obviously, anytime I hear your content, you're listening to other people it shows the level of empathy. So I feel as if that's another avenue you should really explore. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Throwing ideas at you. But no, really look forward to what you're going to go through next, and I will stay connected. If you ever want to join me again, let me know. And I'm just going to keep supporting you, Anisha, for your journey and your work because it is really purposeful. And yeah, just thank you for sharing your story with me. It's obviously so deeply important to you, and it's made you who you are today, and continues to shape who you are in the future. And as I know, I know this is going to sound a little bit cringe, but I know your mom would be so incredibly proud of who you are and what you're achieving with your life. But more importantly, how you're actually helping people to achieve their purpose.